So today we'll be cleaning out this DE filter. Now right off the bat, if you're not sure on how much DE you actually need for your filter, right on the side of the filter you'll see a tag and it tells you how many pounds and how many kilograms of DE you actually need. Now usually, how do you know when you need to replace or clean it out? You have to take a look at the pressure. This is what I do. When I first start the filter in the beginning of the season, the pre-coat pressure, in other words, when you first start the pump and the filter, you put, in this case, 5 pounds of DE through the skimmer, you get a pressure, and in my case it's 10, and I'll show you in a moment at the end, toward the end of the film, we're actually going to do that. Now I usually run around 10, but right now I'm around 18. It's just high, so it really needs to be cleaned. I'll show you two techniques on how you can clean it. Number one is doing what the manual states, which essentially means draining everything out 2 times and then scooping DE in the skimmer. Option 2 is removing the cap, and that's the way I usually do it. Now the reason behind that, if you take a look at the pool here, I have quite a bit of algae. I was gone for around 10 days. I had a solar cover on here, and I know through experience the algae will cling to the tubes inside this filter, and I usually just take a hose and just clean everything out very, very well, put everything back together. It's pretty easy, it's simple, and then put the 5 pounds of DE in, and that usually works very, very well for me. But again, I'll show you those two techniques in a moment, so let's just get right to it. Now one thing you can also try, if your pressure has not increased that much, is regeneration. To do that, you press down the bump handle and push back up, or pull up briskly. So 2, you do it 3 times, start the filter. And you'll notice that the pressure will come back down, but in my case it's creeping back up very, very quickly. But if you want to give that a shot, give that a shot as well. Now to clean it out, we need to press this down and back up a total of 8 times. That's 5, we just did 3. Regarding the suction, this is usually open when you have the pump running, so just close it off. If you have a return line you can close, also close that. Right here you have a vent valve. You're going to open this. Okay, and right here there should be a handle. I have to grab a pair of pliers, but right here you want to open your drain valve, and you'll see all this murky water come out. So we'll do that right now. I really should get a handle for this, I just haven't. It's really starting to score up the plastic, but nevertheless you just want to open up the drain valve. And I just put a hose just so it doesn't make too much of a mess. Looks like I have a leak anyway, but if you take a look. Now once all the water has pretty much all drained out, you will still have a little bit of sediment on the bottom of the filter. So you just want to clean it out with the pool water. There's 2 ways you can do that. Number one, if your pump and filter happen to be below the water line, you could just open up that suction valve and for a few seconds and have the pool water clean out the filter. Option 2 is you could just turn on the pump, whatever works for you. So in this case, I'm just going to open up the valve, and you'll see, you can even hear it even. And there you go, you have cleaner water discharging from the filter. We'll come back, close the sucker up. Okay, so now we come back here, we want to close the drain valve, like so. Right here is your vent valve, just close this guy up. And now you want to do the same procedure again. So go ahead, open up the suction valve, turn on the pump. You don't have to put DE in the skimmer just yet. You just want the pool water to fill up the filter, and then repeat the process. Open up this vent valve, open up this drain valve, and let the water flow out. And then you pre-coat the filter, which we'll do in a moment. Now what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do that process a second time. I'm going to remove the top of this filter, so you'll see the exposed tubes, and I'm going to spray everything out with a garden hose. To me that works a little bit better. It really, and you'll see all the gunk really inside here. It just does a better job of filtration in the long term. So let me show you on how you can remove this top cover. So now we're going to remove the top portion of this filter. Just make sure the vent valve is open and your drain valve is open as well. As you can see, the suction is in the closed position. So the first step is we just need to remove this handle. Right here is a little indentation where you can press in with your thumb. Let's see if I can do this with one hand here. Hold on. There you go. Just press it in. The handle comes out like so. Okay. then you have a top cover. This just comes right off. Just pull it up, comes right off. And then you have a nut right here. This happens to be 15 millimeters. We'll back it out, remove this top metal bracket, and take the top right off the filter. Before we remove this metal bracket, I also want to remove this hose on top here. So now this hose runs directly to the pool. It's not the skimmer hose, it's the other hose. Move it like so. You have some water come out, just plug it. If you have one of these rubber plugs, they're fantastic. Just plug the end of it, turn this a little bit, and that's it. You won't leak any water out of it. Now these brackets can be a little tight. You sometimes have to muscle it a little bit. And there you go. And then this just comes right out. And you see how dirty everything is? That's why I like cleaning everything off with a hose. Okay. Now this is what it looks like on the inside. I just want to spray. As you can see, even though we flushed it out with clean pool water, you really can't get everything. Now one other thing, if you happen to turn off your suction valve, and sometimes it won't completely stop all the water, what you can do is also grab one of these rubber grommets and place it. This is what it looks like. Most likely you have these guys lying around if you have a pool. You just place it in the skimmer. It'll stop all water flow going to the pump and the filter here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's clean the actual filter tubes as well. This is what the inside of your filter looks like, and as you can see, you just can't get everything unless you pull the sucker out. That's what it's supposed to look like. So I'm just going to clean this up. We'll reinstall everything, and then we'll pre-coat the filter. So now everything's nice and clean. And when it comes to lining this sucker back up, if you look closely, you have a little tab here, and you just want to mark that up with the top cover, which is right here. Okay, mark it up, and there you go. So now you can put that metal bracket back on, tighten it down. It has to be pretty tight. So if you put everything back together, you start the pump and you have a small or very slow leak, and you have to tighten up that bracket a little bit more. It does have to be pretty darn tight. But that being said, let's put the bracket back on, hook up the hosing, we'll pre-coat the pressure, and we'll be in good shape. Now don't forget to close the drain valve here, as well as the vent valve. Okay. Come over to the skimmer, also remove this grommet. There we go. Grab the cover, slip that through, press it down, that's it. The dump handle, and there you go. So now we're ready to pre-coat this sucker. So now it's time to pre-coat the pressure, meaning we have to add DE to the system, and we know that we need 5 pounds worth of DE based on that sticker on the side of the filter. So to measure that, this is what I do. In this case, we have 11 ounce, your average coffee can. If we weigh this, it's roughly 3 ounces. So let's fill it up with DE. We'll again measure it. We'll take the difference, and then we can divide into 80 ounces to see how many cans we actually need. So let me show you very quickly on how you can do this. So now we have the coffee can full of DE. It weighs 15 ounces. This is completely full. The can itself weighs 3 ounces, so it's roughly 12 ounces. So if we grab a calculator here, there's 16 ounces in a pound. In this case we need 5 pounds, that's 80 ounces. Divide that by 12. So we need pretty much 6.5 to 7 coffee cans worth of DE, and place that into the filter. Before we start the filter, or the pump here, let's open up the suction valve. And let's go ahead and add 5 pounds worth of DE into the filter. Now unfortunately I forgot to hit the record button, but I just added pretty much close to 7 cans worth of DE to the skimmer. So now we want to take a look at the pressure, and we're much better. I was running in the 17, 18 range. Now I'm a touch below 10. So this is a very good reading. And what I'm going to do now is shock the pool. And I'll come back in a couple days just to show you what the water looks like. And that's it. As you can see, we have no leaks. Everything looks good. And that's all it really takes to clean out one of these filters. Now again, if this makes you nervous, if it voids your warranty by any way, you don't have to do this. But this is what works best for me.